the dark purple. So those of you that were on the presentation, our company, just for those that weren't, is 19 years old. We started as a dial-up company, did internet marketing for our own business, and then the last 2.5 years I've been working with other businesses and just being their internet marketing partner. Whether it's a small mom and pop shop, we have a lot of multi-million-dollar corporations, so we're very scalable in the service that we can offer as well. So the 4 areas that I talked on yesterday in the part was local search, paid search, social media, and then web content, all different ways of driving traffic either to your website or to your actual physical business if you have a brick and mortar business. Local search is probably the newest one in terms of brick and mortar. Over the last 2.5 years is when Google's kind of done more of an emphasis on local search with the maps and the push pins, so that if I'm in Kitsilano and I'm looking for a particular service like yoga or things like that, it's going to show me the 7 businesses that it deems to be most relevant in that area. And just because there's a yoga clinic across the street doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the ones that show up at the top of the search. So how a business can optimize those listings is going to make a difference. So we are a Google AdWords partner. We do great jobs with social media. So I mentioned that I'm going to Toronto tomorrow, so I might as well plant the seed. If you know anybody who's contractors, we have a lot of great success with contractors, whether they're roofing or HVAC or things like that. Locksmiths is another one. We actually have a Multi-Lock Canada and Multi-Lock USA is an affiliate partner of ours, where they're actually referring their clients to us because they want to sell more locks. And so they're referring locksmiths to us because locksmiths have a hard time with their Google listings because of the nature of their business. They go into houses and change locks. That Google wants to make sure that they're legitimate, so we've actually done a good job of keeping the locksmiths online. Health and medical businesses, beauty services, businesses that have constant traffic coming in or looking to always grow. I just actually connected with my dentist in Toronto who's been in practice for 30+ years, but they're still investing money in growing that business so that they can sell it in a few years when he's looking at retiring as well. So professionals as well, lawyers, doctors, accountants, churches, nonprofit groups are always looking for people online. So we really have many different verticals that we can work with, anybody that's looking for traffic and getting found. So 2 weeks ago I talked about Jade, who is an RTN member, not very active, but she is an RTN member. She was actually one of my first clients. I referred to her last week, but 2 weeks ago I just talked to her as a client. We started with her in January on 2 locations. She had been through 7 different SEO companies and had actually done a little bit of SEO on her own. So she was a little, pun intended, jaded by SEO in general. But she started with 2 of her locations with us because the one wasn't coming up online at all and the other one was going to a completely different website. 2 months later she added a 3rd location. A month after that she added social media. The day after I was here 2 weeks ago, she turned over all 8 locations to us, social media, paid ads, and she's got 3 new locations coming up in the next year. So just to give you an idea of the relationship that we have with businesses and the growth that happens. So we definitely earned her trust. Fruitacana, if anyone still knows a contact over there, this is from 2 weeks ago, but I could still use a contact at Fruitacana. They just moved, I know, in Vancouver, and if a business moves, if you know of any businesses that have changed their address and it's a business that gets traffic to their address, it can take 6 months to a year for the search engines to change those listings automatically or to change them naturally. Business can actually accelerate that process, and we're really good at doing that. Or for businesses that are starting new locations, actually Jade's got a new location opening up in Cloverdale. Google Maps has the street number wrong. Not the street number wrong, it's 153 A Street. You can't find 153 A Street in Surrey because Google, the road bends, and if you know Surrey, if the road bends, the street names change. They haven't changed the street name. So we're going to telling Google, hey, you need to change the street name so that people can find this business that we're trying to populate. The store hasn't opened yet, but we're actually already starting to populate the search engines. So when it opens, people can find it a little bit.
Only place on 153 A Street.
Yeah, it was the plaza there too, but yeah, it's kind of weird. So yeah, just one of those things though that businesses that are starting new locations, you can actually start, once you have an address and a phone number for that business, you can actually start populating the search engines even before you open. So just something to consider so that you're getting the traffic as you open up right away. So just a couple examples over here. This is a North Shore Ski and Board that we took on a few weeks ago. When I first looked them up and I searched their name, it actually Google linked them to their sister store, which is right next door to them, but they didn't actually have a listing for their own. So we've been able to work with them, and in a couple of weeks, we were able to get it found on Google pretty quickly. So, but Google's constantly changing because last week I checked, and then Google had taken it up, and then they took it back down again. So we're really that partner there to make sure that when the search engines change and the directories change, that we're there to change with it. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing with the search engines didn't exist 12 months ago because they're constantly just developing and adapting as well. So. Basically, anybody, if you can think of prospects, if they're doing any form of traditional marketing, they'd probably be a good prospect for us because if they're spending money on any forms of marketing, we're focused on making sure people are finding them where a lot of people are searching, especially if they don't know their name, they're just looking for the product or the service that they're offering, making sure that they come up online. So I'm not going to get into the details too much in local search, but just to break it down a little bit, this is paid advertising, so that's where Google makes their money. Organic listings is where just your website's coming up, but it's harder to get those websites to show up now because local search is taking up about 50% of that front page of a business, of the main page of search. So that's to do with the maps and the push pins. Yesterday I showed on the webinar Google Carousel, which is now in the States but coming to Canada sometime soon, where Google's given such an emphasis to local search that they've moved the local search from here and they're actually putting it right above the paid ads with visuals and pictures as well. So just to give you an idea of how local search is developing, and when that comes to Canada, any of the businesses that are already optimized for search will be ahead of the game, because there's businesses now, actually, Jade Electrolysis have a Langley studio that is #1. If you do a search for electrolysis Surrey, they'll show up #1 with their Langley studio, and it's a location that's closed down and a phone number that doesn't work. So it just goes to show you that businesses, if they optimize their listings, can get up there because dead businesses are sitting there right now. So anyways, that's me, Rev Local. We have 40% of our initial setup fee. It goes back to the network for any clients and referrals.
Awesome, thank you.